Hello, and welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up. It's not weekly this time because we missed last week. We were playing Tetris, actually, which I gotta be honest, I only have one or two topics today, so I kind of almost did that again today. But I definitely wanted to at least talk about the one thing. So who knows? This might actually end up being a very short show. So if you don't like the long format show, this may be the one that's right up your alley. If you're watching this on YouTube, especially, this you may actually stick around to the end. I of course am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you're comfortable calling me, and I welcome to you my co-host, the chat, who appears to include Agent Fox 64. What's going on, Agent Fox? Looks like a light chat today. I don't know. Maybe this might be the opportunity to play some Tetris. We got the tournament going on this weekend. There's a Tetris tournament going on. They're doing the Tetris Maximus Cup, which is a format of tournament that I'm not a huge fan of. But I mean, it's an excuse to play more Tetris, which I am very much hooked on. Tetris 99 is what it is for. So it's an excuse to play that. I mean, there is a potential for $10 worth of eShop coins, which is not the most amazing prize ever, but it's $10 of
your ideas
coins that I didn't have before.
And I wish to subscribe to you.
Aqua Sakura, thank you so much for the follow. Oh yeah, I didn't know if you were following or not. From now on, I'm gonna have the chat. I always kind of forget that I can do this. I have buttons set up for it. I'm gonna leave the chat in follower only mode for streams. For Silver Lining streams. Game streams, I may or may not. I really don't know. Apparently, I counted my eggs before they hatched. There's still a possibility I can go to TMG. Say, Agent Fox, that's why you don't freak out. If you panic about something, that panic could make the situation worse. Take your time, relax. Like I said, you got 3 months until too many games. Bruh, what's going on? It's been so long. I know, bruh. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I feel like I haven't said bruh in a while. I mean, to follow you anyway, and I gotten around to clicking it. See, it's easy. It's right up there at the top. You just go ahead and you click that little heart. And if you are ever so inclined, you take your little Twitch Prime sub and you use it over here. Digging the longer hair. Thank you. Yeah, I've been growing it for a while. It's funny. I was in the supermarket 2 weeks ago. And I saw a customer who I hadn't seen in a while, and she goes, "Oh, you're trying to grow your hair long." And I looked at her, and I said this, and somebody else, like some random person, laughed, and I said, like, trying, like clearly I've done it, or am doing it. But thank you, iPlay, and welcome, Cragman, welcome, Elements. What's going on? J, just J, right? So do ready to kick the Tetris at? Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be doing that today. I'm not going to be doing that for the stream. I actually have a topic, but but what's going on? I apologize once again for my coughing. I don't know why. My throat's been real dry lately. I honestly think it's just the fact that it's still winter. So the windows are all closed up, the heat is on, and it dries out the air. Once the weather gets warmer and the windows are all open and there's a little more humidity in the house, I think I'll be a lot better. I had an okay week, which is actually very untrue. For all this week, we have started the streams late, because my job has been open a little bit longer. This is like the preliminary vlog type stuff where I blab about myself for a little while. This is my weeks. This is part of my weekly therapy session, is to come and hang out with all of you guys. So we were open later. If you guys saw my Twitter earlier, I freaked out just because I'm getting sick and tired of these people that come in and the Philadelphia Flower Show is going on this week, and people show up at this thing like this is it. If they don't make it to the flower show this weekend, they're never going to see flowers ever again. And so they freak out for these things. They go nuts for them. They pay. The tickets are like $35 and $40, and they go to walk around and look at displays of flowers. And that, I don't know, maybe they look at me when I say I do something similar for video games and think that I'm insane. But there were one time there was somebody who came in and said that they go there because we don't have a lot of higher end gardening shops around us. So they go there because there are a lot of vendors that sell things that you can't normally get anywhere else. That is the one person in all of these years that I have said, I understand why you're going to the flower show. I would go there for the same reason. Like, that makes more sense to me, that you're going there for specifically for something that you cannot get at any other place. It makes more sense. I mean, even now you could probably go to Amazon and order whatever it is that you need, but you know, they're physical collectors like I am, and they like to go out and do the shopping. Well, I appreciate that. $40 to see flowers. Well, yeah, you know, however you want to spend your money is fine. I'm totally okay with that. But it is these, I hate saying the word boomers because I hate when boomers use the word millennials to complain about people in a very broad sense. But it is the negatively stereotypical boomer types, the ones that everything new is wrong, their version of it is right, they're entitled to everything. People that will complain about younger people being entitled, but then complain to the manager of the store because they're not accepting their expired coupons. Those people. And that's sort of the things that they were doing. Like, I had people coming in throwing a fit. And that was one of the things that happened today that was the thing that sort of pushed me over the edge. Throwing a fit, a verbal fit, because the parking was full. What the parking at where I work, the parking normally fills up because I have a crap ton of commuters, I have college students, I have all kinds of people that they go every day. They normally go. So when the flower show pops up and it's all these extra people, of course the parking's going to be full. But what they do is they piss and moan and they yell and complain because they didn't get a parking space. It's like, I don't care. Get out. Older people just use millennials to describe you. Yeah, they use the word millennials to describe young people, and I don't think they actually know what it means. Oh, man. This chat needs more Kappa. And welcome, everybody that I may not have said hello to. Rye, John Poncho, De Niro, people being over dramatic. No, never. But yeah, so that's over. That's over. This work week is done. We made it. We made it. Oh. So next week, streams will go back to normal time. So they should be 2 p.m. Millennials stopped being born in like 95. Yeah, millennial is 84 to 96. I think is the range, somewhere around there. Maybe even a little bit earlier. Yeah, I am what is known as a zennial, because I acknowledge that word. Oh, I got a soundboard. Oh yeah, I got an Elgato Stream Deck. I got one for Christmas. The wire is not long enough. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I got Elgato Stream Deck. Yeah, I love this thing. Oh my god. Demographers and researchers typically use the early 80s as a starting birth. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I am assuming you acknowledge the term, I am what's called a Xennial, which is 77 to 83, born 1977 to 1983. They are characterized as XENNIAL. Xennial. They are characterized as having they call it an analog childhood and a digital adulthood. What that means is that all of this digital age stuff that we have, computers being a part of your everyday life, I didn't start to experience that until I was around 15, 16 years old. So my childhood really was playing in the street, little electronic devices, little LCD games and stuff like that. But the interconnectivity that we experience through the internet, which is arguably the most significant change in our history, in our recent history at least. I didn't experience that until my childhood years were done. So my childhood was like that. Born in 97. Yeah, I think you were. Born in 97, I think, is like on the tail end of millennial. You might not be old enough for them to have made up a grouping name for you, but I think it counts as millennial. Generation X or Gen X is the demographic cohort following the baby boomers and preceding the millennials. There are no precise dates for Gen X starts or ends. Demographers or researchers typically use birth years ranging from the mid to early 60s to the early 80s. Yeah, see, mid to early 60s to the early 80s. But the very late 70s to the very early 80s, some people acknowledge another grouping in there, and that's what Xennials are. Because when the interconnective age started, when computers started to really come up, we were old enough to have been through a childhood without that, but young enough to really start that. Because if you think about it, if you were born in 90, computers really started to enter our daily lives 95, 96. If you were born in 1990, by the time you were old enough to go to school on your own, kindergarten starts at like 5 years old, you were probably at a point where you could have started using a computer by then. So you did not experience much of your memorable years of childhood or the non-memorable years, I would say. You don't remember that stuff where you didn't have a computer. Generation Z. After Generation Z, then what I would probably say after Gen Z, what would I say? Generation A? Should we just restart the letters again? Generation double A? How about Generation C? Because that's the first generation that doesn't remember C batteries. Great play too much Tetris because that's what I was expecting. Oh, okay. No, we only played Tetris last Friday just because we didn't really have any significant topics to discuss. But hello and welcome. If the current generation is Z, yeah, it normally takes. I think it normally takes a while, for generations to be defined, just because those generations need to define themselves. That's one thing. You can't take a generation that's 5 years old where the children, because obviously the people there are literally 5 years old, and tell them what they are going to be. Normally the generations sort themselves out later when the driving emotions behind those generations start to emerge. Part of the thing with millennials, my understanding and my experience with the true millennial nature, not the one that older people want to make you think is destroying the world or whatever, because they did that already, is the idea of open-mindedness, is the idea of changing changing who you are for the better while being considerate of what other people need in life. You know, there seems to be a lot less with millennials of I'm doing this because I want to do this and screw you. It seems to be a lot of I'm doing this because it is who I am, and if that hurts you, then I will think about changing that in a reasonable way, as long as you're not being an asshole about it. That's how I feel. I don't know. That may be wildly incorrect, but that's just sort of what I see from it. You know, I see in the millennial generation, in the millennial age group, I see a lot of people who they express themselves how they want to because it is who they are and it's what makes them comfortable. But they will also understand that if that hurts you in some way, legitimately hurts you, and you're decent about it, they will tone it down for you. You know, they will watch their language. They will tone it down is really the best term for it. You know, within reason. So let's jump back up here. I remember playing the Teen Titans fighting game on Cartoon Network's website. My grandma disconnected the internet because she had to make a call. Oh, don't we all? Yeah, there isn't a next generation yet. I can't wait for Generation Triple X. Am I right? The next generation is probably going to be Degrassi. The next generation. No, it can't be because Drake's already older. The Roaring 20s. Ooh, the Roaring 20s are going to be different. Yeah. It'll be the Roaring 20s because that roaring noise will be the waves of the ocean crashing over our roads because global warming has melted the polar ice caps. And I say that with a humorous tone, but with sadness in my heart because I only hope I'm joking. I was born in '96. I'm able to remember VHS. See, now here's the thing, Neon. It's very much a generalization. See, I was born in '78, and you know I grew up in the '80s. I was an '80s kid. A lot of people, you know, I had people say, "Oh, you're a '70s kid." I existed in the '70s for a year and a half. I'm not a '70s kid. I'm an '80s kid. But I watched like TV Land. Black and white shows like Dobie Gillis, My Three Sons, Mr. Oh God, I loved Mr. Ed when I was a kid. Like, I watched all of that stuff, and you would think from listening to me talk about it that I was older. But my family, we never had a lot of money, so we were always behind the times on things. So while we existed at a certain point, we also had things from before then because it was all that we had. You know, yeah, we had VHS. I had VHS way longer than most people started switching over to DVD. You know, people started switching over to DVD, and I still had VHS for a long time just because I didn't have the money to switch over to DVD. I didn't have the money to replace all of my movies or anything like that. I certainly couldn't record anything on DVD. The next generation should be called Generation A since the letters aren't. Or yeah, I'd say just flip it back over. I mean, by the time we get around to Generation X again, Generation Y, everybody from the previous generations will be dead, so nobody will care. Figure generations are about 20 years long. Analog TV. I would say it's because you seem to spend more time around people in the millennial generation compared to yeah, that's what it is. Maybe my hobbies have always lent themselves to a younger crowd, so I get to experience a positive version of the younger crowd more often. I guess that's what it is. Maybe yeah. Reruns, man. You know what? Elements Nickelodeon. At night, they used to do when they first started Nick at Night. That was them. It was actually on Nickelodeon. It wasn't like a separate network or anything. And that was where I used to watch that stuff. I used to watch like all of those shows, man. God, Gilligan's Island, Jeffersons. Oh, you know what I was a big fan of? The Beverly Hillbillies. I love that show. I don't know. I think it was because it was probably my first experience with a show where I thought all of the characters were funny in their own way. You know, it was almost like an ensemble cast of crazy characters, as opposed to, one or two main characters, and then everybody else is sort of the straight man for the jokes, and they're the ones that make the jokes. You know what I mean? Like I found Beverly Hillbillies, like, everybody made me laugh on that show. I thought Jed was hilarious. I thought the grandma was hilarious. Jethro was fantastic. Which, if you've ever seen the movie, I think it came out in '96 with Jim Varney as Jed Clampett and Diedrich Bader as Jethro. That's a funny movie. Was still doing VHS and stopped recording in VHS in 2008. Got a DVD player. My first DVD player, and hands up if this is probably something like you, my first DVD player was my PS2. The day that I bought my PS2, I bought The Bouncer and Fantavision and Dead or Alive 2, and then I think it was Fantavision and The Bouncer. I think I bought Dead or Alive 2 later. And then the next day, I went and bought my first 2 DVD movies, The Burbs with Tom Hanks and the Transformers movie. Laverne and Shirley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Schlemiel. Schlemazel. Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. Da-da-da-da-da-da. We're gonna do it. Stayed up to 3 a.m. watching George Lopez. Up from the ground come a bubbling crude oil that is black gold, Texas tea. Sometimes it's best to put your pride aside for the sake of me happy. Rocky Bear, I loved Good Times. But they weren't all good times. I've got a copy of The Bouncer. I want to play it. My copy of The Bouncer is my first one. The Bouncer and the Fantavision that I bought are still the ones that I own today. And, of course, the stream is dropping frames in their back. Those weather, oh my God, the weather alerts on cable. Yeah, I forget where I was talking about the weather alerts, John Poncho. It was their own. It was on the radio. The radio was on, and they still play the alerts every once in a while. They still do the alert noise where this is a test of the emergency system. They do that. I don't remember where I was, but it was on the radio, and I heard younger people going, "What's that noise?" It's like, what are you talking about? That's the test. What does the matter with you? How about the Jeffersons? Moving on up. Hiccup, but I'm gonna. Yeah, I saw the stream freaking out a little bit there. Just think, hopefully that won't happen anymore within a couple of months. Oh my God, the stream is freaking losing it today, man. What is happening? Yeah, the stream is like, oh my God. Those alerts still happen on the radio and on the TV. See, I don't have cable. The stream is, hold on. The stream is like, what is happening to the stream? I see it locking up every once in a while. God, we might have to just drop this and do a Tetra stream anyway. It's the camera. It has something to do with the camera, because when I go full camera, it does that. Okay, sorry. I thought it was doing it again. But yeah, I know I keep bringing it up. Agent Fox, I just don't know anything about what it is. I don't. I don't know what the I don't know what the thing is. What Momo other than the face? It's the face, right? Let me look this up. Yeah, I don't know what the face is. I know what the face is, but I'm looking up this. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Going back to the 90s internet. I used to have that noise saved on my computer. Hold on. I used to yo, what are you opening up Edge Network for? Yeah, I used to have that the dial-up noise. I had it on I had it on an old cell phone, and it was my ringtone. Oh wait, here, we'll find it on YouTube. Hold on. I'm gonna find this, and there's gonna be a noise. There's gonna be an ad right before it. I like how there's a 10-hour version of the dial-up sound. Disconnects because your hand brushed. I've done that before. Here, this is it. Hold on. See, now that little right at the very end, it was like, "Urgh." If it ever got to that for me, it wasn't working. I had to stop it and try again. It would if it got to that point for me, it would lock up and it would never work. Yeah. See, yeah, those are the old days. You know, that's the thing. You can remember that, but there are people out there that is some of their earliest memories. Like they don't. I remember a time when that was never even a thing. I only ever heard this noise on TV. That's the noise I make when I work at. That never happened to me before when using AOL. Really? AOL was what everybody had. AOL was a very important aspect of the. It's a meme now. You know the way people talk about it, like, oh, let's find some AOL discs. But AOL was very important in bringing the idea of the internet to the masses, really, to people who who looked at computers and all they saw was a big hulking box that was impossible to use. You know, so AOL did a great job of showing people like, no, you sign up for the service, which is no different than signing up for anything else, or you use 1,000-hour discs. You click the icon on your computer and you're online. That's it. That's where you are. I had a rotary phone when I was little. I loved rotary phones. I like rotary phones. Nowadays, if you ever want to like trap a millennial, just lock them in a room and tell them that they have to use the rotary phone to get out, and they're lost. Which I say as a joke because realistically, of course, they're lost. Like, it makes me laugh when people do that. Like if you gave them a rotary phone, they wouldn't know what to do with it. All right, and if I gave you a loom and told you to make fabric, you wouldn't know what to do with it. And people from 100 years probably would have laughed at you for not knowing it. But guess what? Things change. Technology changes. You don't know how to use a loom because you don't need it anymore. So why would you laugh at a kid for not knowing how to use a rotary phone? Guess what? He or she, they don't need a rotary phone anymore. You know who else doesn't need a rotary phone? You, old man. I played with a rotary phone, but didn't actually make a call with one. You make a phone phone call. Like, that's all it is. It's just a different way of dialing. I'll never be able to use a rotary phone, but it looks so cool. Yeah, it's just a phone. All you turn a little wheel to dial the numbers, and that's it. And then you're talking on the phone like it's not like the old school. You pick up the receiver and you stick it on your ear and you talk into the little cone from the 20s and from Looney Tunes cartoons or however old those phones were. Hey, Buckeye Cortex. My grandma had an old grand piano in a small room of the house, along with a treadmill. Now it's just a computer back there. Oh, see, Agent Fox, you actually bring up another old school point. In the old days, which we call the mid 90s, you had your computer was in a room in your house. Like, there was an area that you designated as the computer room. You know, and that it was, you thought it was weird when, at least I did anyway, when I would go to somebody's house and their desk with their computer was in their living room. Like, that should have been in a room somewhere. That should have been separated from everything else. It was not a part of our daily lives. Now, unless you are a gamer or a hardcore workstation user, you buy a laptop and you sit on the couch and you use your computer. Yeah, our front room is basically the computer room. Hey, Greg, I can't feel my legs. Neither can I, because you're very far away. I would just say stand up then, bruh. Yeah, everybody. I think most people had that, and I think it was because most people thought of the computer as a utility device. It was not a typical entertainment source. It was you have a room where your washer and dryer goes. You have a room where your kitchen stuff goes. You have a bathroom where that's you know what I mean? Like, there are these aspects of your home that get their own designated area. And I think a lot of people in the beginning of the computer age or the home computer age, that's kind of what it was for them. Also, edutainment games when you have kids. Yeah, like that's what it was. It was something that was separated. And then, yeah, you had the printer and you had all of that stuff. So a lot of people had that setup. So it was relegated to a room in your house. But now we don't do that. Now we use the computer so much that even if we don't have a laptop, like I said, unless it is a gaming computer meant for a specific area, you've got your game room, or a workstation computer where you require a lot of space, most people, even if it's not a laptop, will have it in their living room. My dad converted the unused bedroom in our house into his personal office. Remember we were patient enough to just wait to get to the AOL. Jeffersonia, I was mostly patient, but there were a lot of times where I would go and sign on and then go to the bathroom or go get a snack or something and then come upstairs to the internet. My grandma had an electrical plantain grinder. That's about a decade older than I am. Right, have a good one. I definitely hope to see you again. I will try and be streaming at some point to play some Tetris. Hopefully I get to play some Tetris over this weekend, because of course I have a busy weekend. I remember when it was all right. That's sad trip down memory lane. No, not that. That's sad. We will. Oh, that seemed louder than usual. Let me open up this picture because I want to get to our sort of first topic here. I guess it might be the only topic. Oh, did I not really get that picture? Okay. Open with photo gallery. Yeah, there we go. Look. He's coming for me. Okay. Let's talk about this Sonic design. So the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is coming out. That everybody. This is a slightly older topic. We could have talked about this last week, but we didn't do a show last week. Netscape Navigator. How about AT&T WorldNet? So the movie's coming out, and they released what is like, I forget what the term is. It's like brand identity or something. My understanding is that it is intended to give companies an idea of what the character is going to be like, how to promote the character. If someone's going to write advertising tie-ins with the character, they want an idea of how they're supposed to promote it. Like, you would be, if you had an advertising tie-in with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, you would not go on your advertisement and talk about how heartfelt and loving he is. You know what I mean? You would talk about how he's energized and he's ready to go and you got to go fast. Like, so my understanding is that a lot of this stuff popped up with all of that brand identity stuff. Blue Streak speeds by, cash grab the movie. John Pancho, what bothers me about that the most, I always hear that when you see poor quality and you say cash grab, and I always think the same thing, but you'd grab more cash if you did a better job. Like, if it really was just a cash grab, wouldn't you do the best job possible to sell it to as many people as you can? It just makes more sense to me. So yeah, and one of the good things that has been brought up in chat that came out, I think today, as of this recording, what is it, March 8th? I think it came up today that it was said that the design is actually not final. It's not. They said that it's probably going to be, this is probably close to the mark. But they have said that it's not exactly final. So they may make some changes, which is important because there have been some people that have made some very nice changes to the design. But Greg, Sonic was never good. Yeah, cash grab is all about the minimum effort. Yeah. No, I understand what it means, and I do agree with it. But it's just like it makes me think of that all the time. Like, you would grab more cash if you worked harder at it. So the it's not finalized, but this is what at this point this is what they're selling us. Did anyone ask for a Sonic movie? Are kids asking for it? Are we asking for it? No one asked for it. Now, you know what, Rocky Bear? At the very least, no one asked for a live action Sonic movie. No. Phoenix Storm, Shadow, Minion, what's going on? Yeah, nobody asked for this movie. Okay. So my thoughts on the design. I forgot to download more images because there's one image that, let me see. Hold on, let me see if I can find one of the images, because there's actually one of the images that I really do like. I want to find all of the images because there was one that I actually really liked. It's of this character, but it was like one of the poses that he was doing. See, I can't find the other ones. Oh, is it this one? Hold on. See, it's this one here, but it's not a really good picture. All right, I'm gonna show this picture, and let's see. All right, so hold on a second here. Not Cuphead. Hold on, I'm gonna show this other picture here because this picture has a couple of different designs in it. Open with photo gallery. Okay. So there's this picture on the side. looks at the Sonic movie.
What?
Cuphead would be a fun movie. All right, so there's this picture on the side that you can see right. No, okay, the mouse doesn't show up. I actually like that design. I think that the pose makes the design look less noticeable, much better. Okay, so this is the thing where it's like brand personality. So it's like irreverent and sarcastic, heroic, adventurous, confident and competitive, chill and likable, mischievous but not malicious. There's just now this one here that you can see on the very edge. You can only see part of it. That's a great pose for that design. It works very well. That side picture looks like something straight out of Saturday AM. Yeah, the one that's cut off in half, I think is a very good looking picture for the design. So we'll leave it there. Yeah. It's the eyes. If you Photoshop the normal eyes. Okay. First off, and this is the biggest thing that I do, and I think this is the consensus across the board. It's probably not the best compliment to give it, but it really is not the worst possible design. I feel like we could have imagined worse. It is still recognizable as Sonic the Hedgehog. I've heard some people say that it's not, and I don't know what they're talking about. It's still very blatantly Sonic the Hedgehog. They could have made it a guy with blue hair. You know? So the fact that it's obviously clearly looks like the character is fine. The eyes, yes. The eyes actually make it very bad. Here's my issue. There is something that I like about the eyes. The mono eye, which is the standard design where it's all this is one big white thing with two irises or pupils on it. Well, I never know what the difference is between those two. It could have looked like the Sonic ice cream. I probably would have gone to see that movie though. The mono eye is great as a design choice, but is not realistic if you're trying to make it in the real world as a real world looking character, which again, nobody asked for a live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but now that we've got one, you got to make it work. And the mono eye doesn't work as a live action character model. What does work is that if you look right where the blue fur meets the little snout muzzle, there's white fur in there. So I wouldn't have minded a little more white fur, just a little bit more, just a hair more. But they did add something to sort of connect the eyes. I know it is a grasp at a compliment, but it is there. I do kind of see it. Other things are minor. The nose should be a little bit longer. You know, somebody did, and I don't have the picture right now. Somebody did a redesign where they gave him a little bit more of the mono eye. They gave him the little nose.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Subscribe to PewDiePie. Thank you so much for the follow. I will probably not, but I appreciate the support for him. But I will not. A nitpick for me is that the hands are white fur and not gloves. That is a nitpick, but a valid nitpick. And I'll tell you why it's a valid nitpick. Because he's wearing sneakers. It's not like they took away all of the humanity aspects of him. Like he's not wearing, he doesn't have a scarf. He's not wearing sneakers. Like, it's not like they turned him into this pure animal thing. Like, he does something. He does do at least something that's human. So why did they keep the sneakers but lose the gloves? Like, again, They gave him white fur on the hands. It's a stretch at a compliment, but it's there. But yeah, no socks. And you know what? I don't like the fact that the sneakers are all red with the white bottoms. What happened to the white strap across the top? Again, another nitpick, but it's still one of those. It's those. The thing about nitpick issues is that, yes, they're so small, they shouldn't be an issue. But they're also so small, they shouldn't have been an issue to add either. Like the little white strap across the top. It's not going to make or break the movie. But it's such a simple thing. Why didn't you just do it? The original character has that, so do it that way. I wish you had some pants. The Nike swoosh. Yeah, I don't like the Nike swoosh either. That is a blatant. That's just like, it's just blatant advertising. Here is something that my biggest issue. This is my biggest problem with this character model. I don't like his build. I don't like the bigger upper body. He looks like, and we said this before when those silhouettes were first released, and I think that to this day right now, he looks like a guy who is very fit, who is wearing a furry outfit, not furry as in furry as in it's skin tight with fur on it, and a Sonic the Hedgehog mascot head. Like, that's what he looks like to me, because he's got the jacked runner legs and the jacked upper body. It's like the proportions make it look like a jacked dude wearing a Sonic headpiece. I don't like it. It's not supposed to look like a guy. It's supposed to look like a blue hedgehog that runs really fast. You know, like reality has taught us. That's my biggest issue with it so far. I could go with anything else. I'm fine with the fur, with the white fur for hands, except I'm not. I'm fine with two eyes instead of the mono eye, which, again, from a design choice, it looks kind of cool on paper, but as a character model in 3D, looks a little weird. Kind of resembles the werehog. Sonic's dong is not visible. 0 out of 10. Well, that's because he comes fast.
Ooh, you suck.
Sonic is either a pot-bellied creature with lanky limbs or a skinny creature with. I'll take the lanky skinny. I'll take the skinny. Lanky makes it sound like he's so tall he doesn't know how to stand the weight of his own bones. So that's kind of a problem. Yeah, I want chubby Sonic back. Yeah, my biggest issue is definitely the proportions. The proportions of the body, I should say. The head, again, other than the features around the eyes and a little bit of the nose, I'm actually fine with the head, except for one more thing. I have one more gripe about the whole design in general, and this is sort of the same. And I feel like we're gonna divide the room here. Yes, he's a hedgehog, which is a mammal, which has hair and fur. But I feel like he's a little too fuzzy for me. And this is the same exact problem that I have with the Detective Pikachu Pokemon. Fur doesn't necessarily mean fluffy fur. It doesn't mean fuzz. It just means fur. It means that there's some texture over it. It doesn't mean that there has to be little loose strands of hair everywhere. And it is most visible on the spikes on his hair. They are the spikes, and then there's little hairs coming out away from all of them. I think if you cleaned up the flyaway hairs, I think it would immediately look better. I think the profile would look much better if you clean some of that stuff up. he can still be furry, but without being fluffy. If anything, he runs fast. His fur should be smoother. But yeah, no nips, but yes to the dog. Well, shouldn't he have like 4 or 6 nips? Shouldn't there be like shouldn't there be a bunch of them? Like, can I oh my god, I can't draw on this, can I? No, I can't edit on this here. I mean, those are quills. There should not be any fur on them at all. Yeah, so that actually makes it worse. That it's like, it looks like a lot of fur. I mean, that's on his head, on his body. There should be some fur, but yeah, on his head, like, he shouldn't be fluffy. It shouldn't be like, it shouldn't look like that. That's my biggest issue, and I have the same problem with the Pokemon from Detective Pikachu. Yes, they're furry, but they're not fluffy. They never animated fluff to the characters. They have smooth lines, which you can do with fur. He's fluffy for extra cuddles if you can catch him. Sonic should be the Dr. Manhattan of the 2020s. He just descends. It's like Supersonic, but he's still blue, but he just descends. It's not fluff just so much as it's his quills spreading out. I just think that if they were closed in more, that it would look better. I think that the profile, the silhouette of the character, would look better, because that's a big part of it. Is when you look at that, you the first thing you see is the general shape of the character, the silhouette, and I think the silhouette needs to look better. And I feel like the fluffiness hurts the silhouette, both on the head, and that's the thing, both on the head and the body. I think that the body should be smooth too, especially as a character who runs fast. I was surprised to see that Jigglypuff in the upcoming movie was furry. Yeah, I never thought of Jigglypuff as being furry. They're mammals. Most of them. You know, a lot of the Pokemon, I guess they would qualify as mammals. So I accept an amount of fur. But pit bulls and short-haired dogs, they're furry, but they have smooth lines because it's very short fur. That's what I imagine with something like a Pikachu or a Jigglypuff, not fluff. Akuma origin story. Why can't we just use the modern Sonic model or animations? Like the Progressive commercial, or the model from what was it? Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's, or create new models. Hell, I know that this is blasphemous. Make a Sonic Boom movie, for the love of God. That show is hilarious. That show's got a bunch of great jokes. I mean, I feel like a Sonic Boom movie will be treated like a Teen Titans Go movie. So there's probably a good reason that they don't. I don't know about Pokemon being mammals. Yeah, I guess they do all lay eggs and stuff. So yeah, weird platypus monsters. Jigglypuff, I expected, has always had that curl, but the messy fluff I expected more for wild versions, not for a cared one. And yeah, that's actually a good point. Kept Pokemon might not look that way. Maybe wild Pokemon do. Maybe wild Pokemon do have wild hair. But kept Pokemon should probably be a little neater. Sonic being fluffy may be weird, but what if the Tails model ends up... Tails model, assuming that Tails is even in the movie, which I doubt is going to happen... I imagine that it's going to be fluffy too. They're going to have to keep the art style consistent with the rendered characters. I take a Sonic Boom movie. Yeah, I think Sonic Boom is great. I think the writing is hilarious. It's got a lot of funny jokes. If you're trying to convince people that this Sonic the Hedgehog movie is for kids, which it's not, you'd be better to use the current property that you're selling to kids. And the property that you're trying to sell to kids right now, as far as Sonic the Hedgehog goes, is Sonic Boom. Yeah, the show's great. The games are terrible. $5 on Sonic Friends showing up. I would take against that bet. I don't think that they're going to do it. I think that they could probably do it at the end of the movie. The comic and show is great. Yeah, I just and I touched on something very, very quickly there, and I am gonna actually go back to it. The Sonic movie is being made for children. It's being marketed to kids. It's being made for a child audience. Is BS. It is. You're part of the reason you're using Sonic the Hedgehog's name. Part of the reason you're using that property is because you know that, and this was the same. I had the same problem when they redesigned the Thundercats, and everybody was saying, "Oh, well, it's for kids." Listen, if you don't like the design, you don't watch it. It's that simple. There's no arguing that. So I don't want to come across, even though I probably am. I don't want to come across as one of those people like, they changed it, which that means it's wrong. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Don't watch it. It's fine. That's simple. But don't say that it's just for kids and then use a property that has a certain level of nostalgia attached to it, because you know that the reason you're using that property is to get in older crowds, to get in people that have been following Sonic for a long time. Thundercats. This is what happened with the Thundercats, where the Thundercats, they redesigned them, and they were this really goofy sort of kitty, really childish design, which is fine. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. If you are somebody who's watching it and doesn't like it, you don't watch it. It's just that simple. Just leave it alone. Turn it off. But don't defend it by saying, "Well, this is made for kids." If you wanted to make it for kids, you would have used a similar idea, but not Thundercats. You used Thundercats because the idea was that there is a nostalgia attached to it, and that nostalgia is going to be responsible for bringing in a bunch of people initially. You did it on purpose. The Sonic thing, you're doing it on purpose. You're using this whole... The movie is being created as a Sonic the Hedgehog movie because you know that after 25 years, Sonic the Hedgehog will create buzz one way or the other. It looks like this time might be the other. Thanks. I hate it. Yeah, of course they know who their audience is going to end up being. So, and that's exactly it. So stop acting like, oh, well, we don't understand why grown-ups are upset about this movie. This movie's clearly made for kids. No, it's clearly made for people who watch and follow Sonic the Hedgehog, because you know they're the ones that are going to be watching this and interested in it. That's why you're doing it. Wait, Sonic movie? As soon as I saw the new Thundercats Roar designs, I knew, yeah, I'm not going to watch this. Thundercats was a serious story, not this. Yeah, you know, and it's a cartoon. It was always an animated cartoon. I mean, but it was a relatively serious idea. You know, it was these were not when you watch the Thundercats cartoon, the OG cartoon, they were not like, let's go, we need to find some cake. You know, Thundercats Roar, that's probably what they were doing. Like, they were upset because Mum-Ra tried to steal their cake. Okay, that's what you're selling to kids. That's fine. That's totally okay. Kids like that stuff. But you used the Thundercats design because you knew non-kids were going to pay attention to it. Yeah, that's how it always works. They aren't using the nostalgia to get older crowds to watch. They're doing it to get their children to watch. Yeah, I guess that's why they think that it's going to work, but they should know by now. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 6 times again and again and again. You probably should start learning by now. Is the new Thundercats design more akin to OKKO? Yeah, I thought a lot of OKKO when I first saw that Thundercats design. which again wasn't horrible. Just it was what it was. Yeah, little kids don't know what Thundercats is. They ever give a reason as to why they changed his design so drastically? Minion, it's always the same reason, because they want to put their own spin on it. When people see Sonic the Hedgehog, they see Sonic the Hedgehog. When they see this design of Sonic the Hedgehog, they're going to think of the Sony Paramount Sonic. So they need to make sure that it is identifiable enough as their own product. And I don't mean to make this sound like a defense, but this is their reasoning. They need to make sure that it is identifiable as their own product, so that when they see its face on cups and shirts and lunchboxes and backpacks, when you see that, you don't just think of Sonic the Hedgehog. You think of their version of Sonic. You think of their movie, their toys, their property, whatever else they stick his face on. That's why it's one of the reasons companies do this. They put their own spin on the design because they need to differentiate that design from the other versions of the character. Again, it's not a justification, but in my mind, that is their reasoning for it. Not everything needs to be an edgy reboot, but everything needs a lighthearted one. Not everything needs a lighthearted one either. Nobody wants a comedy remake of Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop wasn't a comedy? I don't know. I laughed. Teen Titans Go. Same damn thing. Hell, Teen Titans and Go had what? Like the same voice actors. Will this movie be enough to sell general audiences to the rest of the franchise? No. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that this is enough, that this movie, short of the movie being fantastic, because we actually have not ever discussed that. Now, I don't think anybody's ever discussed the idea that what happens if the movie's amazing? What happens if you go to the theaters and think, man, I laughed, I cried, I enjoyed every second of it. Unfortunately, it did exactly what it promised, and it went by too fast. You know what happens when we come out of the theater and we want more? This is the design you're stuck with. Here. Yeah. This is the design you're stuck with if this movie does well. And they know that. They know that, and they want to make sure that when you talk about how great Sonic is, how great the movie was, this is the guy you see. The one cartoon that had a great successful movie, Ninja Turtles 1990. That movie was so true to the cartoon, to the comics. That movie was actually not very true to the cartoon. It was more true to the comics. Some people have brought this up before, but do you think they would make a video game tie-in since this movie is based off a popular... No, I don't think we'll ever see a Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, the game. I think you might see this design pop up in other games if it was popular. But yeah, I don't think you would see a Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, the game. I imagine that the rights for Sonic the Hedgehog video games are already held. You know, the reason this is happening is because there are no Sonic movies, so the rights for the movies are probably separate. I was thinking about that possibility a while back. From the looks of it, Sonic, the Sonic movie can go two ways from what I see. It can either be a terrible movie that is not enjoyable, or it can be one of those films that it's so bad it's good. With that said, you're going to wait for here, Aqua, you know what? I'm not even going to wait for just the trailer to make a judgment. I'm going to wait for the movie to make a judgment. When the movie is out in the theaters and I've seen it, I'll make a judgment on what I thought of that movie. And even then, that judgment might change. this movie, camera's out of sync. Hold on. Is the camera out of sync for everybody else? Before I go and change it, let me know if the camera's out of sync. Waiting on camera sync. Camera sync. Blah blah blah. I'm just trying to do stuff so that it like you can tell whether or not the camera's it's synced for me. Good on my end. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's fine now. I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on a second. This has the potential. This is how I see where the movie could go. The Sonic movie has the potential to be the movie that we all laugh at. 5 years later, say it wasn't that bad. At least this scene was good, and at least this part of it was good. And 20 years from now, if memes still exist, get memed all over the place. That's how I see it. Yeah, I think that people are going to attack it. I mean, we've seen it. The response to this picture is a microcosm of the response to this picture is like a microcosm of the future history of this film, in that it came out, a bunch of people hated it, a bunch of people didn't mind it, but said that they hated it because everybody else was saying they hated it. And once all the voices calmed down, people started to speak up and say, it's really not that bad. It could have been worse. It could have been better. I hated the Cal arguments that people would rant about in videos about Thundercats Roar. If you don't like the type of style, that's fine, but just to blame the entirety of Cal Arts for it is stupid, because not all shows that have people from Cal Arts. Oh, okay. Memes will always exist even when the heat death of the universe occurs. Bruh, I imagine that as the heat death of the universe occurs, the last thing anything in existence, the last piece of existence, the last remnants of mankind will be a picture of the guy saying, you can't hate everything in the universe if there's no universe around. That's it. That will be the last thing, the last notion of humanity and existence before the universe just dies out completely. It'll flash in the sky and then disappear. Honestly, I have little faith in the movie, but I'm only going to see this movie with a group of friends. So at the very least, if it's not good, then we can have fun. See, and Minion, that's always a big issue when people say stuff like that. Because, first of all, I don't care if the movie's bad or good or bad. If you're laughing and making a whole bunch of noise in the theaters, I'm going to have a problem. I paid $11 to be there. My issue is that, okay, if the movie sucks, I'll go see it anyway. First of all, you won't know it sucks unless you go and see it. You can take opinions all you want. But if the consensus in the first and second weekend is that the movie's not good, and you say, well, I'm just going to go watch it to make fun of it, you're still giving them your money. And they're going to take that money and they're going to say, people must have really liked this. Let's do another one. If the movie's bad and you really are against it, the way you speak out about it is you don't go and see the movie. But at the same time, form your own opinion of it. Watch the ads, watch the trailer, listen to what people have to say about what they liked and didn't like. And that's one thing that's important that nobody ever seems to do. Listen to what they didn't like, but also listen to what they liked. Ask somebody, oh, this movie was bad. It had this and this. Okay, well, is there anything that you liked about it? Someone might tell you, oh, well, the storyline was really good. That may be the most important aspect of a movie for you. That may be the movie for you. You know, I can't tell you how many times people have said, oh, well, it was a bad movie. So, well, what happened? Well, the science was ridiculous and the fight scenes were over the top. I love over the top fight scenes. It's so funny to me. I love watching that stuff. I love wire stunts. You know, I like that stuff. So what somebody called bad, I like in a movie. I love over the top. Ultraviolet is one movie that I always remember people would just bash. Like, oh God, I hated this movie. It was ridiculous. I watched it. I think this movie is awesome. It's like an action manga comic book come to life. But the things that I liked are the things that other people didn't like. They didn't like the art style. They didn't like the way the fight scenes were so crazy. You know, she got on a motorcycle and drove up the side of a building. That was awesome. Did you guys see? Yeah, Blue Pen. Ultraviolet movie. Like people, this motorcycle driving up the side of the building. That's cool, man. Why is that a problem for people? That's why I like the Fast and the Furious movies. You know, the Fast and the Furious movies, it's just like car acrobatics and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's not even believable. All right, but I kind of know that with the Fast and the Furious movies. So I'm not exactly going in there looking for some Oscar-winning performance, heartfelt comedy, romance, realistic. I'm going there because they're going to jump a car from one skyscraper to the next. That's why I'm going. I'm going because in one movie there were a bunch of cars driving down a runway that never seemed to end, and there was a carrier plane like a C-130 blowing up behind them. Like, yeah, I that's what I'm going to the movie for. No, I'm not expecting a tour de force of acting, each moment more heartfelt than the one before it. I'm going for cool looking cars and sort of cool looking cars and crazy stunts. Transporter. If you've ever seen the Transporter movies, Transporter, especially by the second and third ones, were wildly unrealistic. I don't care. It was Jason Statham kicking ass for 90 minutes. I like Fast and Furious except Tokyo Drift. Oh, see, Mert, Tokyo Drift is my favorite one. Batman did it. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, Batman drove up the side of a building in Batman Forever. Yeah, I like Tokyo Drift. Tokyo Drift was actually my favorite one. I mostly like the setting, and I like Tokyo Drift because it was the only one that it was about racing. Like, racing is what got him into trouble. Racing was the solution at the end of the movie. I liked Tokyo Drift specifically because of that. And, of course, the Japanese setting never hurts me. Like I always like a nice Japanese setting. But the Sonic movie, I don't know. I just think that I absolutely think that it's way too early to tell. I think that you can't tell anything definitively from the one picture that came out, which again, at this point has now been stated is not even the finalized version. They have confirmed that it's not even finalized. How did you do that? Because I'm Batman. That was how it should have ended? That used that Batman? I forget if that was them or not. Alrighty. That was really the only topic that we had. I do of course we always have. Well, wait. So we always have the viewer topic portion. If you guys would like to discuss anything, I'm Mario. If you guys want to discuss anything, I'm Agent Fox. I'm gonna cut you off right now. I don't know anything about Momo. I don't know what the hell it is, other than I know that it's a face. I don't know what the challenge is. I just don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not expecting too much from Sonic. Just hope they keep his personality, Sonic. Like he's got to go fast. Yeah, I think they are. I think that was what that whole brand personality post was about. That they wanted to give you an idea of what he was going to be like, and it sounded a lot like the Sonic that we're all familiar with. Octopath Traveler iOS prequel. I saw that. They are so they're doing a prequel that is going to be on iOS. I don't know if they said anything about Android later on down the line. It is a prequel for Octopath Traveler, and it's going to be similar art style like we've all seen. I don't know as far as when they say prequel, I don't know if it is a prequel to the characters we know or if it's just going to be in the same land but years before. So I'm not familiar exactly where it's going to take place in the timeline other than it's going to be in the past. I think that it looks very interesting. I want to see it perform. Octopath Traveler was visually a gorgeous looking game, so I want to see it perform on iOS and see how well it works. Hey, my baby. So I want to see it perform. The image that they showed, for anybody that saw it, looked like it had 8 characters on the screen battling at once. I want to see that. I want to see what that is because for all we know, that's 4 characters with 4 assistant characters. I want to see how that works exactly. And since it's an iOS game, it might not be as in-depth as something like we would see on a console or PC game. So I want to see it running. As for the concept of it, I love it. I love the concept of that. I like the idea of, you know what it feels like? If you had Final Fantasy IV on consoles and then you put the after years on iOS or in Android. I like that idea. So it becomes this sort of it transcends the one thing. You now have to spread it out, which what I suppose was the idea behind all those Kingdom Hearts games. But at least it helps that it's on your phone. Now, if they were to say, "Oh, we're also going to put a different Octopath Traveler on the PS4, and we're going to put a different one on the PC, and we're going to put a different one on Xbox," then I would say, "Okay, you're spreading it out way too far. Give me something on the console and then give me something on the phone. We're good." I mean, you guys all have phones, right? Octopath is the new Kingdom Hearts, confirmed. Going back up here, going back up. But yeah, I do like the idea of Octopath coming to I like the idea of it coming to phones. I don't have iOS, so I'm gonna need it to come to Android. We could talk about the fact that the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield, instead of having gym leaders, we have gym masters, and the gyms are stadiums. It's just that just sounds like an aesthetic change. Aqua, they say gym masters instead of gyms and stadiums instead of gyms. Gym masters instead of gym leaders, and stadiums instead of gyms. We're still gonna walk into a building. We're still gonna walk around and maybe have to fight a bunch of people, and then we're gonna fight somebody who is the leader of that area, and we're gonna get a badge or something, and we're gonna walk out of there and have access to the next area. Like, just because they call it something different, I feel like it's not going to change how the function of the game works. Unless it does change the function, in which case that's very interesting. Are you going to get Devil May Cry 5? No, I haven't played a Devil May Cry since the second one, and I didn't play all of the second one. I just tried it out. And De Niro, how many times I got, it's money, man. It's money. I can't put that kind of money out. Labo VR, what even is it? Labo VR is like you hold on to it, and then it's gonna have adapters, and you hold it like a gun or something. It's a cool concept. I don't like the idea that you have to hold it. I wish they made it with a strap and a pad for your eyes so that you build it and you put the strap on there and you put the pad on there and you can put it on your head. I would rather have something like that just because they could probably tweak some of the other apps to work that way. Because the YouTube app is on the Switch. So why not turn that into a VR viewing device? Where you can put it on your head and just watch YouTube through that. I think that would be a lot better. No one's going to want to sit there and hold on to it for a long period of time. And the split second that you put a stand under it, that's what everybody's going to say. They're already saying it now. But the second you put a stand under it, everybody's going to say, oh my God, it really is another Virtual Boy. Hang on. Okay. I almost bought Final Fantasy 9. Well then, you're almost at a good game. Oh wait, hold on. Pan down a little bit there. And you can see the stuff. Well, it was a fake internet challenge. They claimed it got kids to increasingly harder challenges resulting. Oh, okay. So it's all a hoax anyway. Okay. Says it takes place years before. Yeah, years before. I just don't know if it's years before, but involving the lives of some of the characters that we've seen in the first game, or if it's just years before in a different part of the land. Maybe years before in Hornburg. For anybody that actually played Octopath Traveler, Hornburg is the area that is like the final. It's like the kingdom of Hornburg has been gone for a while, so maybe it takes place there. I'm curious, but I'd be happy if it got ported to the Switch at some point, which, that might happen. Thoughts on Microsoft releasing a new Xbox with no disk drive? I don't... The no disk drive thing isn't as big a problem as the fact that it is an Xbox. We're more accepting of the idea of no optical drive for our game systems now. So I don't think that will hurt it as much as the fact that it's a Microsoft Xbox and right now they are at the bottom of the system wars. So no one's really going to care. Not to mention the fact that for as much as people want to talk about digital this and digital that, physical games sell. There's a reason they sell. People love having their physical games. And if you take away the ability for people to buy physical games for their systems, that's going to hurt the system. Not to mention the fact that you do have people in areas that don't have good internet connections and need to buy physical games. They need to have them because they can't sit there and if they tried to download a full game, it would take a day and a half. That's why some people like physical games. Dropping in cause new NWC has been found. A new gold cart? For me, there's no Tails. It's not Sonic. And hello, Swaff. What's going on? Yeah, new NWC cartridge has been. I'm scrolling through the chat. I'm trying to catch up a little bit. We're going back. Movie tie-in, remake Sonic 1. Okay, I have to jump ahead here. Given the choice, I was going physical, as I tend to find physical is cheaper than digital at the moment. Yeah, if you Lilac, especially if you're willing to play older games. I don't buy $60 games because $60 games cost $60. If I wait 3, 4, and 5 months, they're $30. They're $40. If I wait even longer, they're even cheaper than that. You don't get that with digital games. Next Splatfest, Team Knight or Team Wizard? Team Wizard. I always take spellcasters. All right, let me jump ahead here. Hold on, I thought I saw companies like Limited Run exist for a reason. Absolutely. I know you're getting the computer set up. I was wondering if you were planning on it. Hold on, De Niro. I know you're getting the computer set up. I was wondering if you were planning on it in the future. Planning on what in the future? DMC. If I get a chance to play it, I'll play it, but I'm not really gonna spend any money on it. I don't hate the series or anything. I just, it's there. It exists. Hold on a second here. Oh, we got Dragon Ball Evolution. Physical leaves more room on your hard drive. Absolutely. I definitely believe that. I mean, don't get it wrong. I've also got to worry about shelf space. Meow. Sage is looking at me from the door like he doesn't want to come in. So he's just kind of like. Hey, Squeak, what's going on? Hello. If you missed Uncle Final Fantasy IV after years was it originally a mobile game? I remember it on the Wii, and then the PSP version of Final Fantasy IV has it all built on there, which I think I have. I thought I had it. Yeah, I think Final Fantasy IV the after years on PSP. I think that has everything built in. Or was it DS? Yeah, I don't know. I have to look. I have a Final Fantasy game up there. I thought the PSP game had everything put together. Yeah, I don't know. All right. I think that is actually going to do it. I think we are going to call it a little bit early. What's this? St. George, get up here, buddy. He comes in, and then he wasn't. Yeah, I only remember WiiWare and the PSP. PSP does have the after years, yeah. Meow. My boy. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it today. That was, it was all right. I was a little surprised we were able to do it that long. People starting to buy games digitally more and more, as well as people buying physical games online nowadays, GameStop seems to be more and more irrelevant. Well, they're irrelevant as being the company to go to. But if you remember, I don't know if you were here for that. We did a discussion. If you look through my YouTube playlist, you'll easily find it there. We did a discussion on the value of GameStop as an entity, and was GameStop necessary? And if I don't, like I said, I don't know if you were here or not for that. If you were not, go watch that episode. That actually we talked about that, and that was the summary is that we do need a big face for gaming. It doesn't necessarily have to be GameStop, but it is important to have a retail face for gaming that is easily recognizable. My boy. I'll tell you what. After the stream, I'll give you some treats. Okay, but yeah, for right now, we're gonna go. I want to thank everybody for stopping in and for hanging out. For blah 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 and about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. For dealing with our little bit of connection issues. Looks like we dropped some frames earlier. If you are watching this on Twitch right now, if you're watching this live, check the links down below to follow me over on Twitter and YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. me see here. Ooh. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Play some fun games. Relax. Spend time with the people that matter. And if you don't like those people, then spend time with yourself because you matter. Hopefully, I will see you all for the next stream where we will hopefully have more topics to talk about. And until then, play some fun games and have a good one.